You've stepped into someone's house, maybe a friend's or a coworker's, and something clicked the second you crossed the threshold. Everything was in place. Counters cleared, floors open, no loose ends. The kind of calm that feels earned, not forced. You paused and thought, how do they live like this? Not for guests, not for a special night, just every single day, quietly. What the research shows is surprising. The person who keeps their space tidy every day isn't more disciplined than you. They're not grinding harder. They didn't suddenly decide to become a different person. They simply crossed a line most people never see. Once you understand where that line runs, the whole habit starts to make sense. Your brain doesn't experience your home the way you think it does. There's a concept called cognitive load, the total mental effort your brain is carrying at any given moment. Decades of research confirm that visual clutter does more than just annoy you. It quietly costs you real mental energy. Every unwashed dish, every stack of mail, every jacket left on a chair registers as an unfinished loop in your nervous system. Those loops steal your focus. A well-known study out of Princeton University showed that physical clutter in your environment directly competes for your attention, taxing your visual processing and reducing your ability to concentrate, process information clearly, and feel calm, even when you haven't done a single thing yet. Flip it. When your space is clear, your nervous system exhales. The background noise of what's still undone disappears. For the first time in hours, your brain gets to rest. That's why people who maintain a clean home often think more clearly, stay calmer, and feel less mentally exhausted. Not because they're smarter, but because their environment stopped working against them. Most conversations stop there and miss the deeper reason. When we talk about people who clean every day, we're not talking about anyone who secretly loves scrubbing grout. What we're actually talking about is people who discovered something powerful. Their living space is one of the few areas they can still control. Life throws everything else at you: traffic, the economy, your boss's mood, other people's decisions, even their moods and choices. But your counter, your bed, your cabinets, those are entirely yours. Every time you restore order, your nervous system gets a clear message: I've got this. That small act of ownership is the foundation of what psychologists call an internal locus of control. People who believe their choices shape their outcomes tend to feel less anxious, stay more motivated, and bounce back faster over time. Taking back your space every day is one of the simplest, most repeatable ways to reinforce that belief. But here's the part that actually explains everything: identity. People who clean their homes daily aren't primarily motivated by the cleaning itself. They'll tell you they don't love it. What happened is quieter. Through repetition, through seeing the results, through the small wave of relief after the task was done, they started seeing themselves as the kind of person who keeps a tidy space. Once that identity sticks, the behavior stops needing willpower. It becomes automatic, simply what they do. Behavioral psychology is crystal clear on this. We consistently act in line with the identity we hold about ourselves. If you carry the belief, I'm a messy person, it quietly gives you permission to stay that way. But identity isn't fixed. It's built through evidence, and the evidence is your own repeated actions. Every time you put a dish away instead of leaving it in the sink, every time you wipe the counter before bed, you're casting a vote for a new version of yourself. After enough votes, your brain updates the story. There's one more layer most people skip entirely: the morning. Right after you wake up, your brain is in a special window of heightened focus and neuroplasticity. Cortisol is rising naturally, and that very spike actually makes new patterns easier to form than at almost any other time of day. The first action of your day, making the bed, clearing the kitchen, locks in that new identity early, before the day's distractions hit. It's also a completion loop. Your brain releases a small but genuine burst of dopamine when the task is finished and visible. A made bed, a clean sink, an empty counter. These are not small things to your nervous system. They are proof of competence, and proof of competence compounds. A lot of people have heard the version of this idea attributed to Admiral William McRaven. Start by making your bed. One small proof that you followed through on what you set out to do. That proof grows into something much bigger by the end of the day. You might be thinking right now, that's not me. I've always been messy. My parents were messy. That's just who I am. I hear it. But your clutter isn't neutral. It's communicating. When life feels chaotic, the space around you often reflects it first. Research published in the Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin found that people who described their homes as cluttered also showed measurably higher cortisol levels all day long, compared to those who described their homes as restful. The state of your space is affecting your baseline stress level every single hour you spend in it. So the real question isn't, why can't I do this? It's why hasn't the habit been built yet? People who keep clean homes aren't drawing from some infinite reservoir of willpower you don't have. What you're watching when you see someone with a consistently clean home is not discipline. It's automation, a system that has become as effortless as brushing your teeth before bed. A 2009 study published in the European Journal of Social Psychology found it takes an average of 66 days for a new behavior to become automatic, not 21. The goal isn't to white-knuckle it forever. The goal is to keep showing up consistently until the behavior no longer feels like work. There's also a sensory layer most people overlook. A clean room does more than look good. It communicates safety to your nervous system at a level that doesn't need words. Shoulders drop. Breathing eases. For people who are highly sensitive to their environment, and there are way more of you than you think, this effect is even stronger. Maintaining order becomes a genuine mental health practice. And here's the part that ties it all together. People who clean every day are often doing something emotional at the same time, even if they haven't named it. When you're anxious and sitting still, your nervous system stays wired. But when you stand up and do something with a clear beginning, middle, and end, especially something physical, you give your body a way to discharge that energy. The dishes get done. The inside settles. This is called behavioral activation. It's the clinical name for using physical action to shift your emotional state. You're not wired wrong. You're not broken. You're just living in a space that hasn't yet been built into a habit. Habits are built the same way for everyone, through small, consistent actions repeated long enough that they become part of who you are. Not through force, through showing up for yourself, one small way, again and again, until it feels completely natural. If this landed somewhere real for you today, I'd really appreciate you subscribing. There's a lot more to unpack about how your environment and your mind shape each other in ways most people never question. The next video goes even deeper.